Hey everyone, this is PrinceWatercress, and welcome back to Let's Play Griffin. We are now in the second loop of the game, and as you can see, there are more tanks than ever before, there are more turrets than ever before, there are more enemies than ever before. Thankfully, all of your power-ups from the first loop of the game carry over to the second one. So, in case you didn't die a whole bunch and you have a little bit of power-ups left from being the final boss at the enemy base, you'll be at a distinct advantage, at least a little bit, if you have any power-ups, if you straighten up your tank a little bit. Thankfully, the skinny gray tanks, the ones that carry all the power-ups, they'll let you go back to full strength in case you died once or twice at the enemy base at the end of the first loop. Which is good, because some of the enemies that are in the same positions as where they were from in the first loop, especially those tanks, definitely those tanks. Some of them will be shooting the much faster missiles, as opposed to the standard slower enemy projectile. You don't have to fight every enemy. If it does manage to get away from you, you can just go ahead and move forward. You don't really have to worry about destroying every enemy. As a matter of fact, knowing when to run away is kind of useful. Especially when you have the blue fireballs, indicating that you have the strongest version of the main gun. Don't know why I let myself get hit by that missile or that standard slow shot right there, as you can see. But thankfully, in case you grab like an energy refill, it refills it all the way. Here's the helicopter sub-boss, the same as before. Only difference is we now have the blue fireball, so we can take it out in a matter of seconds. A lot easier once the gun is fully powered up. And when you go over here, the second plane will be a little closer to the left side of the screen, so you want to keep that in mind. That enemy position did change there. And I'm going to line up with the leftmost tank tread there, so I can put myself at a distinct advantage when facing the first boss, which is something you could also do in the first loop as well. Thankfully, this boss does not have any new attacks, so the same strategies you use on the first loop will definitely apply during the second loop. Only difference is I have the blue fireballs now, so it should take slightly fewer shots to take care of the turrets that are on this boss. Just be careful moving from one side of the screen to the other, so that way you don't get hit by any of the projectiles that come out of the turrets. And if you can get any of them to aim diagonally, that definitely works. Thankfully, once you have the two turrets in the front taken care of, this boss becomes a lot easier. And you can just aim diagonally like I'm doing here. This is definitely easier once you have 3 of the 4 turrets taken out. And now we're back in the desert. Definitely gonna have a lot of tanks shooting missiles at us. You're still gonna have those stationary, not stationary, but standard blue ones that don't fire a shot at you and just advance until they run right into you. At least they always take the shortest path towards you, so you can easily pelt them with your main gun. But in the desert, you definitely want to keep your finger on the trigger at all times. You never know what you might hit when, especially when you're just moving around to avoid running in the walls. Not like running in the walls will kill you or anything, it's just a slight nuisance, but in case you're trying to get away from enemies or something, it can be a bit of a pain to deal with, especially in the desert. I am making this second loop look a little easier than it actually is. Granted, it's not the most difficult thing in the world. It's not super hard. But you are dealing with a lot more enemies, and I really cut it close there. I don't even know why. I tried to take it on directly from the top center of the screen, but managed to help me get a few shots in when we faced the helicopter sub-boss the second time. And I might as well go ahead and use the skinny gray tanks to get my speed back up to full, which I've basically done, and also make sure that my energy is kept topped up. Moved a little bit to the right there so that I had nothing to do with that plane that was trying to drop bombs on me. And that guy just moving away from me, so I'm just going to let him just move on his merry way. Guy after him, though, he's not going to be as lucky. Definitely want to be careful with the tanks, because all the tanks here, the ones that do fire at you, they will fire missiles at you. If you can somehow fire ahead and get a few early shots on a tank as you're advancing forward, that definitely helps. And now we are on the second boss. Second boss fights the same way as it did in the first loop. You want to stay in one of the corners and take care of one of those moving arms while at the same time trying to avoid all those enemy projectiles. It may seem that way, but they don't really focus on your current position. They don't home in on you. And it's a good thing that I was able to get some shots on that first arm as quickly as possible. All I need to do now is just aim diagonally to take care of the right-hand arm. Thankfully, I'm going to do it from the same angle, the same corner that I took the first arm on. Because once you're able to aim diagonally at it, you'll be able to take it down a little more easily. You'll have a lot more room to maneuver in. And I may have taken a few hits, but those hits shouldn't really be detrimental to what I'm trying to do here. After seeing another picture of the blue-haired anime girl, we skip the flying stage and go straight to the enemy base. We don't have to deal with the flying stage in the second loop, just the first one. And of course, there's going to be a lot more enemies in the second version of the enemy base. You're going to be dealing with a lot more tanks, and they will be firing the missiles at you. So you definitely want to be careful. Now, instead of using the bomb to take care of these guys, I'm going to go ahead and use my main gun. Granted, even with your gun at max power, it's still going to take a few shots to kill them off. But at this point, I can actually afford to do it because there aren't as many enemies in the way. I don't have to deal with the turrets at the same time when I fight those things. When I fight those guys. And after another wall, we have to make our moves carefully here so as not to avoid being shot at by those turrets. You're going to have to deal with the tanks more than ever, especially when you get into the more narrow quarters, which will also now be crawling with turrets. Thankfully, I was able to stay away from the missiles and destroy that tank at the same time. Going to use the bomb here to get rid of the tank up ahead after I get past that flame jet. And I'm letting that turret shoot there so that way I can take care of it after I line myself up for the flame jet. And I took some damage there, but thankfully, because I was fast enough, it didn't kill me outright, which is a very good thing. Once you know how to maneuver around a bit, know how to fire ahead of time at stuff, it becomes a lot easier to get through the levels. And it also becomes a lot easier to not lose energy, because you die in about 5 hits in this game. Which is okay, it's pretty reasonable, I guess. Again, I got in a few early shots there. I did not expect that guy on the right to hit me. And don't do what I did. I was really pushing it right there. I just kind of tried to brute force my way towards that wall, and well, I had the health to do it, but I wouldn't exactly recommend it either. Gonna let this guy come towards me so I can grab a power-up. Strangely, it was the second one that had the energy that I needed, but oh well. And thankfully, I managed to get some early shots on that tank there. Which means that all I have to worry about now are those turrets. And I'm going to go ahead and drop a bomb to take care of the tank up ahead. Took 2 hits of damage. Thankfully, again, it didn't kill me outright because, again, I had maximum speed. Skinny gray tank comes along. I go ahead and gun it to grab the energy. And thankfully, I was able to do it without taking even more damage, but then again, when you grab an energy power-up, you do get all of your energy back, regardless of how close to death you are, so it's not like it would have mattered that much. And thankfully, getting to the boss the second time around wasn't as bad as doing it the first time around. Now I'm gonna fight the second loop version of this boss a little differently. Because once you beat the second loop, you've basically beaten the game. Because I'm using the bombs, because I'm not going to get any more, it makes it a little easier to take care of the turrets on both the front and the back, and the bombs allow you to destroy all of the standard slower enemy shots, especially the ones coming from the 3-way turrets. And because, well, this was the true end of the game, this was easy as pie. And here is your ending. The game tells you you've completely beat the game, tells you your final score, and then you get one last picture of the blue-haired anime girl. From here you can press start to play the game all over again. So, how did this game stack up? Well, it was alright. It'll probably take you at least 1 to 2 hours to complete, maybe more if you have never played it before. The sound and music are okay, but the music, well, it loops every so often, but if you really get into the game, you probably won't be paying much attention to it anyway. Control is pretty simplistic, given that you only have 2 buttons, the start button and the control pad. It doesn't exactly set the world on fire and where you have to move in a certain direction in order to aim. And the graphics are okay, given that they're on the Game Gear. You can tell what you're shooting at. And once you beat the game, when you beat both loops, there's really not much of a reason to play it again unless you really want to kill it some time, unless you really want to kill an hour or 2. Other than that, it's really not that much of a bad game. It's not that bad a game at all. Definitely worth importing if you want a quick game to play, I suppose. And that is it for Let's Play Griffin. Hopefully I will be back with another game. Maybe it'll be good, maybe it'll be bad, maybe it'll be mediocre, who knows. Until then, this is PrinceWatercress. Take care, stay safe, thanks for watching, and see you guys later!